outside again. I came for the M's, I came for the win. Yeah, me and all my friends. It's a 4th century, man, we all going in. Big bro, I rock tote. Better use what you got, get what you want. Swear to God, since that day, I've been cooking it back, trying to make this shit grow.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Beezy Show. We are here at NAMM 2024 at the Cloud Mike's booth, hanging out, doing some pods. We got a very special guest today here. And listen, I understand that the people told me I need to stop cursing for monetization, but we're going to censor some things, so I don't care. We got Tha Myind here. Thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And, you know, what I've been telling people recently, and you know, since we started doing this, is like I just want to hang.
Yeah.
We're just gonna hang.
Yeah.
Just talk. But we had a fun night last night.
It was interesting. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting.
We were
night.
with the homie Tim Mack. Shout out to Timothy Mack, which he is already on a plane back to Georgia, and some might say thankfully, thank God he is, because he's been running amok out here in California. These Georgia folks, man, they come out here and they just, you know, they just
get
think they
a
could
little country.
they just do whatever they want.
You can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out the boy.
Exactly. And we're also speaking of another individual, Mr. Big Lou. He's around here somewhere, running around with people. But yeah, man, thank you for hopping on.
No, thanks for having me, man.
You know, talking some stuff. I know we were hanging out in Vegas a few months back.
Yep.
Doing some work out there,
Yep.
which I think that's really where I got to see you, got to, you know, interact and be
Yeah,
in
it was
the
our first
intimate.
time meeting.
Basically,
Yeah.
So it was a cool time to see, you know, how you guys work, and that's where that's actually where I wanted to start was, you know, production, which is such an interesting thing for me because, and not to get technical, we just, you know, catching vibes, but
Yeah.
for me, I've always I used to be an artist back in the day, and you know, I kind of transitioned into.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well. You know,
I learned
so
something new
yeah,
about you today.
when I met Lou, basically I was still in the artistry stuff, you know what I mean, and working on that, and then I just made the transition to, you know, behind the camera, basically. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and just, because it's one of those things where you see, you know, you see the artist, you see them in front of the camera, you see what it takes to be that, and I think once I met him, you know, once I met Lou and kind of, you know, figured out what my next move was gonna be in the industry, was like, maybe I want to do something different, you know?
Yeah.
That grind
Let's make a shift.
Right, because the grind for that is like, it's just a different animal. So I was like, let me just, you know, chill, see what I can do. And then content was like naturally what came to me, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so the production, why I love that so much is because I've met a few people since coming back to LA. You just see them in the studio and you're like, very lit, you know? That's very cool.
Yeah.
How you know, command, how you you build that trust with the artist. There's also that relationship that, you know, when you have an idea, but you obviously want the artist to have their idea, and then you guys blend it together. But you know, what is your approach on that when you have these ideas like clashing? That's a big one for me because I see it. And I see the struggle, you know, and I'm like, damn, how do you come together to just, boom, make it happen, you know?
I mean, it depends on the person you're working with.
Yeah.
Like, you see me in the act of just kind of taking over the room.
Right.
If I have that autonomy to do it, I'll do it. But if it comes to, like, something where it's clashing, a lot of times, depending on the relationship with the person, like if maybe it's our first time, I'll make recommendations on something like, hey, maybe try doing it this way and see if they're open to it. But there's definitely people that are like, no, I like it this way, I want it this way. And a lot of times you have to kind of, it sucks because you end up doing more work.
Right.
But you got to let them just go through it, and until it's their decision that it's not good enough.
To not do it.
Then you kind of have to go with it. And also depending on, like, you know, you have, and contrary to belief, there's a lot of the more up-and-coming artists that are more like that versus, like, the big dogs, you know, that at least that I've been around. You know?
Right.
I've been around some folks that's, like, barely have any followers, but, like, they see themselves as a star, and that's great. But also it's like they feel like they have more knowledge than everybody else in the room because they might have watched some YouTube and read some books and
Right.
stuff. So,
Right.
but again, you could tell just based off someone's experience, like they've been around, like they've
sure.
been here for a while and they've experienced people and know how to be dynamic and collaborate. So
Yeah.
it really just depends on the person, and then I approach accordingly. You know,
Yeah.
I just say I'm a chameleon. Like
For sure.
I could fit in with anybody, any crowd. It just depends on
I love
watching them,
that.
seeing how they move,
I love that.
and moving accordingly to make sure it's for the betterment of the project.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel the same way too, even with a lot of just in general in life is the chameleon, ideas is pretty, speaks to me because it's true. It's like you walk in, you check temperatures and that's the thing I've dealt with, a little bit in the past recently is like some people's, that you work with, some, whatever it is, it's like who can't check that temperature and it's just like, damn. And it's so hard to like, tell them like, hey,
Reel it in, bro.
hey,
Reel it in.
hey, you can't say that around people, man.
Yeah.
Nah, but it's an interesting thing, and I've always loved that too. And I still dabble in music. I still write a little bit, just have that creative vibe. I think the creativity is now more in the content, photography, video. That's where I'm like mostly doing like creative now. But I've always just respected like a dope producer. Because it's something I didn't have when I was making music. You know what I'm saying? Like, had I just had that one dude that was like, yo, let's try this, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's, go over here. And, like, you're singing that way too, let's go down here.
Yeah.
Like, it just, and I've seen, a few amongst, you yourself and others that I've seen. And it's just, like, such an interesting, it's the like, that role is an interesting role to be in for me, what I've noticed.
Mean, you're a project manager.
Right.
It's like, you have to have the ability to see what the end product's going to look like to be able to move the pieces on the board. It's like, think of it having like, it's almost like you have, those strategy games that you got to get from A to Z, but there's obstacles in the way.
Right.
It's like, but you have to move certain pieces a certain way to make sure that it's a fluid movement.
Right.
That's at least how I see it.
Right.
So it's like, for me, it's being able to come into a room, understand what my role is in the room first, right? And then contributing my piece, or if it comes to the point where I'm the one steering the ship, I need to make sure that everyone is being efficient and getting what needs to be done, but at the same time, we're all vibing, we're all enjoying the environment. Because, we could have fun, but at the end of the day, we're there to do a job. We're there to produce a product. So
that's a
it's
big
like
one
having
too.
that balance.
Right. And that's a big one too. I think a lot of people get it, they get a little twisted sometimes, you know what I mean? They and I bring these things up because I think these are, some of the things that I've noticed where it's like you try to get records done and, you want to get them done the best way possible. And then there's, like you say, those roadblocks, there's these little things that kind of pop up. But I have seen some like just magical shit happen, where like everything comes together. This is working, producer, artist, engineer, everything is running smoothly. I mean, you guys were rocking out that one night in Vegas. You guys were going crazy.
That was a crazy night because like I literally just landed, and Lou picked me up. Yeah. In the freaking Camaro.
How was the ride back?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm used to that, but definitely like Lou was trying to like do his thing. Lou loves his fast cars.
For sure. Shout out Big Lou.
Yeah. Anybody want to give Lou a ride in their car or let him drive it? It's safe in his hands.
He's ready.
He's done a couple.
He's ready to complete the task.
Yeah. But Lou picked me up, and I got there, and then everybody was just kind of in there rocking out, and then Casey was like, shout out KCP too.
Casey.
Casey's like, yeah, man, just vibe out, see what's going on. And I got on the keyboard, and I don't play, but I'm able to carry a melody. So again, just fit in where you fit in, right? So it's like I saw what the vibe was on. We were on the rock country vibe, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
We got down, and I was just playing keys along, and it everyone ended up following my lead at some point,
right?
Because just like we were going around the room. Mike was on the guitar, shredding crazy.
Bro, shout out Mike Orlando.
Yeah, Mike Orlando crazy on the guitar. Yeah,
that boy. He is different.
Yeah,
he is different. I went up to New York. We were doing some stuff for Seth, and we went up to see him at his studio in New York. And you see. That's the other thing too. There's real life levels to this shit. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's
and
crazy.
Again, being a producer, I always try to tell any producer that's asks me my opinion on how to move,
Mm.
I've never tried to be a type of producer. Like,
Right.
I'm a producer of music. I'm
Right.
not a producer of any specific type of music. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the urban space, but like you saw that night, I
Right.
was playing rock guitar leads on a keyboard.
Right.
When I don't play guitar, I don't play any of that
Right.
stuff. But it's like having that ability to have the ear for it and being exposed to other musics, other genres, and finding a way to make it your own,
Right.
not necessarily copying it. And that's kind of like what I try to do. With whatever I do, I'll have the conversation with another guy. He's like, "Yeah, our plugins are mainly for." His name is Zach. I forgot his last name, but he's like, "Our plugins are for like more metal stuff, rocket metal stuff." I'm like, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've used other things that's meant for something,
Right.
for something
In
else,
different
you know?
ways, right.
And it comes out great, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like just thinking outside the box and being creative, being different. At the end of the day, everyone has a different process.
Right.
I know my process. I know how I work best.
Right.
I've never been a producer that does well. I can do it, but like, they're like, "Oh, send me a folder of something,"
Mm.
because it's like my repertoire is from Celtic to fucking gospel to rock to R&B to hip hop.
everything.
So it's like, what do you need specifically? So I prefer to be in the room
Right.
and kind of feel it out,
Yes.
and then I kind of shine better that way. Or send me something that you might need finishing touches to, because then if you just tells me to send you a folder,
Right.
I'm gonna send you like a folder with a very eclectic collection of stuff, unless you tell me a direction you want to go. You know.
I thank you so much. Thank you so
But
much.
that's just me, though.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. I'm in my zone right now. This is great. This is great. This is important because this is something that, you know, artists that I work with and just, you know, artists that I know, you know, I would say mostly, you know, hip hop and, you know, rap space and, you know, some others too, but maybe even pop as well. But there's this idea that like you can just get sent a pack of beats and that's it, which that's fine. It works. You know, you can catch a vibe. That's not, you know, and I'm sure people have made great songs that way. That's, you know, even on YouTube beats or whatever. We've heard the stories, but there is something when you are literally from zero, working with the artist in the room, making that from scratch, which is what I've been trying to tell a lot of people, because I think a lot of artists that have like been coming up as like recent or like new guys or, you know, new guys and girls, they think it's just like, oh, let me just get a beat pack sent to me or go to, you know, BeatStars or whatever and do my vibe.
Yeah.
But then and I think that's the thing is like I think we gotta find a way to like create the bridge to like merge producers and artists, you know, in that way, or like at least start to talk about it like this right now, because being in the room with the person who's gonna produce or, you know, beat make or whatever it is from scratch, I've always felt that the song is just like something just way bigger, you know what I mean, than you would have ever even imagined.
I agree, but there's also a caveat to that where it's like, if it's not the right matchup of people or talent in the room, you could just be there for hours too, just making some random stuff.
True,
you know?
true.
So it's like, I've been in those sessions where I'm not vibing with the artist specifically,
Right.
or they're just not in the right headspace. And yeah, I could come up with something, but is it gonna become something that we really want in the long end?
Right.
In the long run, should I say? But again, it's for me, it's all about energy and dynamic. And like, for instance, my best friend, he's produced for the biggest, craziest people in the world. I'm not gonna name drop because
Right.
he doesn't really care for that. But,
Yeah, right.
but like he's like one of the hottest producers
Right.
out there right now, top 10, you know, in the world. But he's like a guy that prefers to be in the room by himself,
Right.
making beats, and he'll send folders.
Oh wow.
And that's how he makes all his placements.
Damn.
But again, he's a workhorse. He does that all day, every day,
Right.
from sunset to sunrise to sunset.
And is it so him doing it that way, and I'm sure he already has the repertoire with the artists that he works with. Is it that he has that like relationship with them, so he probably already knows?
It could be a little bit of both. I mean, that's just how he's always done it. But again, it's like when you're buzzing, everybody's gonna want a piece of what you got.
For sure,
You know, like
for
you
sure.
could, you know, be like, you got Metro Boomin on every other track.
Right.
You got, you know, when Hit Boy was hot, Hit Boy was on
Yeah.
it. It's just when you're buzzing, and people are gonna want to have a piece of what you have to
Right.
be part of that accolade. This will be it's like to say you're associated with someone that's associated with the other person says something.
Right.
You know, it's like this line of association, degrees of
Right.
separation. And that's what this industry is really about. It's really about
Facts.
name dropping and who you're connected to. Because
Absolutely.
most people don't know who I am until
Right.
they talk to me or they hear me talk to someone else, and then they're like, oh, you did this and this and this.
Right.
You know, so it's like I walked into rooms and people don't even look my way.
Yeah.
But then like the artist or someone that knows, that has a name for themselves, talk to me, then all of a sudden people want to talk to me. You know?
Right.
So
Right.
it's really just depends on the dynamic of everything and
Yeah.
how people move. At the end of the day, and going back to the topic is like if there's energy and there's synergy in the room, it's gonna come together.
For sure.
Now, what you do with that that comes out of it is up to you and your
Right.
management and the team. But you can make some, like I have folders and folders of amazing music, but
Right.
it just sits on the shelf because for whatever reason the label didn't want to do it, or they changed
Right.
directions, or budget changed, or whatever.
Right. Right.
You know, and it's like amazing stuff that will never get heard by the general public. you know?
Right. Right. Right.
But it's a part of the game at the end of the day.
Is there a time where you maybe were in a session where you're like, because this interests me sometimes, it's like you're in this session and it's not moving, but something happens, whether it be, something you did or you added like a sound or the engineer did something and it just like completely switched the vibe in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. It could be a random, like they might be going through patches of sound banks or something, and then someone is drinking and they lean on the keyboard and it made a sound.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, wow, wow. I'm like, well, what was that?
Hit record.
Like, yeah, and it turns into like we add some shit to it and turn it into like the bass line or turn it into like just something in the back. It happens all the time. There's a artist named Anaya that I had the opportunity to be in session with her on some songs. And then I think Happy was an A&R. Happy I think he's not with Sony anymore. He was with Sony.
Okay.
He was at Empire now, but I came with him and my boy Bugs, and I was just there to really produce. But me being me, like I saw something was missing, so I was like, "Yo, how about we do ABC?" You know. So I ended up doing like a Paul Wall kind of like chippy throws from your foes.
Nice.
You know, just do like some vocal stuff, and it like made the record holy shit.
Dope.
Then ended up not using it, but again, it's
Right.
that stuff happens.
But if it sparks,
it always like I do it all day. Like I'll hear something fall, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, and I'll like try to sample that or like make something different.
Right.
I'm always trying to figure out a new way to do something. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it happens all the time, and also depends on the producer.
Right.
Some people are so used to producing a certain way, they want a specific sound, and they're not gonna look for something new.
Right.
I'm always looking for something new, something different.
For sure.
I have some really left field that like people just they're either not ready for or they're like, yo, I need this. you know?
Yes.
And again, it's like everyone has their niche, everyone has their ear, what they're used to, what they're accustomed to. But yeah, you could be inspired by anything, man. And I've had countless times. I can't even
for sure.
start counting all
For
the
sure.
times where that's happened in a session. That's like a writer that comes just mumbles something,
Right.
and it has the right pentameter and the right tone, and it like completely shifts what the artist was even thinking of writing.
Right.
And they like, yo, no, let's go with this, and then they write to that. So it really just depends on the who you have in the room.
That's
you
true.
know?
It's like those audibles, those little audibles that happen. It's just something about that like I love, because you know sometimes you're like in a rut, it's not moving, or it is moving and then it just kind of like fizzles. But those little things that happen in the sessions, I find that interesting, because I've been in a few of those and I'm like, I don't understand how they made this. I don't know how they made this work. You know what I mean? Like they were like not going anywhere, and then
it just
shit
flipped.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I was like,
or it could go the complete opposite.
or it can go the opposite, right?
You had like
right.
where we jabbing on, and then someone says something or something changes, or like someone leaves. Sometimes it's just someone leaving the room to go smoke or something, and comes back and they're like in a whole different mood, and it's like it's just energy. Energy will change the room like in a heartbeat. Yeah,
it's life.
Or you have people that's just so freaking lit, and nothing gets done because they just
Right.
want to be lit and have a good time. You know,
Yeah.
I hate those. Those are the worst. It's like, why am I here? I could be home. You
I
know?
could be home chilling right now, bro. You're
But
out
that's
here
when I do. That's when
wilding.
I do the folder piece. I'll be like,
Oh, cool.
all right, I'm gonna give you this folder. I'm out. You know,
Oh,
like I don't need
facts.
to be here.
Yes.
I used to
Yo,
be. I
pro
used to be
tip.
that. Yeah.
Pro tip right there.
If
Take
the, if
that.
the if the room's getting crazy and nothing's getting done, then
Drop
you
the pack
just
and leave.
leave a pack and leave. Yeah,
Bounce.
that's my mo now. Like I'm like, all right, I'm out, y'all.
Yeah.
Peace. You know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
You got to call it when you got to call it. I mean, there's been nights like that too. We've had a few
I've
of
had
those.
plenty of wasteful nights. I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like I don't party. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs.
Right.
I might have a drink or two, but that's really it. Like
Yeah. I'm wondering
it's done
also
nothing for
too
me.
if that, because it's all a process. So it's like on the journey. You know what I mean? Like I feel like obviously because I'm starting out. I'm starting to open the horizons here a little bit with myself, and trying to be open minded to a lot of ideas. But I feel like even like that too is like you show up, it doesn't work. You show
No
up to
one
this
just
thing,
kinda
it doesn't
quits.
work. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like the repetitiveness of like continuing to be consistent, and then I think that's the other thing too with like just the people who watch and the fans and of music, and they that's the part of social media that like it's like they don't show that side.
Yeah.
They don't show like the repetitive not doing anything. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Forever.
Well, I like those memes where it shows like what people think producers are doing, and it shows them like
Yeah.
getting crazy to music, and it's like what they're actually doing is like gook,
Yeah,
gook,
just like one
gook,
mind. Yeah.
gook, 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 gook. It's
Yo,
literally that's all it is, you know.
No one in the music industry does a goddamn thing. Okay, they don't lift a finger.
It's very interesting.
It's so wild.
It's very interesting.
I know we were talking a little yesterday because it was interesting, with the the automation stuff and what you were talking about. I definitely want at least just to put it on here, and I think that's a really cool way to be like organized. I think is what I got for
Yeah.
myself at least, because that's something that we do even with like files and like all we have going on with the content stuff. It's like if you don't stay on top of shit like that, you die.
Well, yeah. So I'm a tech guy. Like
Yeah.
my background's in technology. So I've always married the two together. And I'm always about efficiency. What's
Yeah.
the most efficient way I could do something? So, for instance, speaking of which, I got to send someone some files right now. But
Yeah,
it's like,
sure.
Situations like where you're in like something like this, and you get a call like, "Yo, we need such and such files or folders or whatever." Oh, it's on my hard drive at home.
Yeah.
You could lose that opportunity,
Right.
or lose that connection to that person. Where like,
Right.
if you ever come off as not being dependable or being there when they need you in a pinch, not saying that you have to bend over backwards for everybody,
Right,
but
right,
if it's a
right.
situation that's gonna get you in a better place, be prepared technically. So like I have everything in the cloud, everything on my computer. The minute I create a session, hit save, it's all synced to the cloud. And it's low cost. Like
Right.
the amount of money you're spending going out drinking every weekend, you could spend a fraction of that and have all your in the cloud.
Right.
I use Dropbox a lot. Dropbox, if y'all follow me, I've been
Yo,
supporting y'all forever.
We need the sponsorship. You know what I mean?
But Dropbox, I use Dropbox for everything.
Yeah.
So like I get like, hey, I need such and such, or you got loops for this, and I have everything organized in BPM, key, everything's ready to go. So that way when I send it to somebody, I could be like, here's a link, they
Right.
get it, and they're able to take that information and just go with it. You
Yeah,
know?
for
So
sure.
like I'm always ready to go, automating things. So like I'm trying to put together a platform now where I'm doing like a consulting thing where I'm teaching artists and producers of how to do these things on the back end, creating processes on the back end that'll make you more efficient and more responsive when things
Right.
come up.
Right.
Because then you're not like, oh, I gotta run to the hotel room and get my hard drive,
Right.
or
Right.
you have your phones with you all the time. There's so much you can do on your phone with
Google
the technology.
Drive, all this.
And a lot of it's free.
Yeah.
But like for me, I have like a 4 terabyte Dropbox account,
Yes.
and I use it for everything.
Literally everything.
Just literally everything. All my samples, all my my sets, all my kits, all my media, all my digital, my EPKs. Like I got everything on there.
Yeah.
And I also have it on my phone too.
Yeah.
So biggest phone I could get. Like
Yeah, for
like
sure.
hard drive size. So it's like
Absolutely.
I don't like external hard drives. I've had some bad situations with external hard drives in the past.
Man.
Like sessions that were very near and dear and important,
And they're
just
gone.
they're gone, you know. So I don't like hard
Sucks.
drives, I don't like external
Dude.
drives. So cloud is where it's at right now for me.
It's just scary. I remember when I was in so I mean don't get it twisted. Like I'm not an engineer, you know what I mean? I went to school though. I did go to SAE in Miami when I was there. So I got my little training on. You know, I know how to engineer. I wouldn't call myself that. I mainly did it for myself when I was doing like music for myself and I just wanted to track myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to know. But then I think about it, I'm like, why would I spend 20 bands to like go get a degree just to like record myself? But it was cool.
But you did
though.
it.
I did do it. It was lit. It was lit. I made a bunch of songs. It was dope. But but see here's right and then perspective because now when I go into rooms or deal with artists, you know, they're like look at me as this content guy, whatever, and then it's just like, oh, you know, I'm trying to do this thing with like you know, this thing on the program. It's like, it's you know, high pass filter. Just go ahead and hit that button, and you can just sweep. You know, like what the hell? Like you're the content guy. It's like, well I went to school for shit, so.
Well, that's the other thing that happens a lot in the industry. Like you get put in a box.
Right.
You know. So one of the things that people always ask me is, what type of music do you make, or what type of producer are you, or what's your specialty, what's your go-to? I'm like, I'm a guy that makes music.
Yeah.
And I'm good at finishing things.
Yeah.
Like you give me something that you think needs something, I'll find something to make it fit in and make it fit. And it's not like a lot of times you have people finish stuff and it's like it sounds like it was added on. Like I will make. A lot of times it's an ego thing.
Right.
When you have other producers do something, they want their stuff to stick out more.
Right.
I've never had an ego. It's just like my ego is more like how do I drive myself,
right?
Not how do I outshine other people.
Yes.
No, because at the end of the day, like if we could all make some fucking money,
yeah, for sure,
and become better at what we're doing, like let's run it.
Let's run it, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's really just how do you go along being able to represent yourself without being, you know, put in a box. And it's hard.
Right. You know,
it's hard because people see me. Like I'll walk up to people,
yeah,
and they see me and they assume that I'm an artist or a hip hop producer or something.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a producer, but a lot of times when I mention what I do, like, oh,
yeah,
you know, like I have you heard the stuff we did in Vegas with the corridos dudes?
I don't know if I heard the stuff, but I did show up when they were there once.
Okay.
I think you were there too.
Yeah, that's when
I
you
was just
came
leaving.
and grabbed some gear.
Yeah, I was just leaving, but I did see the band. I think there was a couple of tracks that were played.
Yeah.
But listen, shout out, you know, to my lady, you know, Mexican, love you, and you know, it's the vibe, you know, and I, you know, through her, I've been more. I mean, I grew, you know, I'm Salvadorian, so my folks. I think naturally listen to you know, that kind of music and banda and all that kind of stuff. But it is cool because I was talking to her about it, which is like, it's so dope that it's made that like resurgence, but like from the younger, you know, it's like what
they did with hip hop. Like
right,
the young
exactly.
people took the 70s music and the R&B and they reinvented it, and that's where the corridos is at now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But what I was getting to was that. When I walked in the room and the dudes, they see like, oh, this is black dude. You know, he's going to be leading the session. Like, what the hell? And when I started like giving input, they were kind of like hesitant.
Right.
But then once I was like speaking to them in Spanish with my broken Spanish as I could, you know, and guiding them and like telling the trumpet player what to play, telling the guitar player what to play, telling the bass player to do it more this way, more slap, you know. And they're like, okay. And then when we did that one song where we added the 808s to it, they're like,
I'm pretty sure I heard that one because
like,
I was like, this is hard, right?
Yeah,
this is hard.
They're like, I don't know if I like it. I'm like, just let me finish, let me get it done, you know. So it's like, and again, it's me thinking outside the box, and everyone's used to the thing. So, but again, it's like, I don't get upset when people put me in a box because that's human nature. We do that. We like recognize what we can recognize. We gotta be able to see that and put things in places where we recognize and get used to it. I just like surprising people.
Yes.
I take it as a challenge. Like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
You gonna put me in a box? All right, bet. This box not gonna exist in about an hour, you know.
Exactly.
So that's just how I approach music, life, relationships with people.
I do like that. I feel like in a way I'm like that too, where it's like you try to, you know, because you know with the content and the music, again, like we were saying, I walk in the studios, they start talking, they like see me and they're like, how do you know about, you know, compression? How do you know about EQ? It's like, I mean, I've been around for so long, you know what I mean?
You have to pick something up.
Right, you have to pick something up, you know, unless
or
you're just
you're
like,
a freaking egghead. And
basically, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's actually cool that so that's why I say I go back to the schooling and like, you know, you spent the money, whatever, but it's like, it's actually helped me with artists and even giving input too, because it's like, you know, what would you do here? What are you doing there? And it's like, oh no, we can arrange it this way, or you know, add an effect over here. You're just being a little bit more, you know, responsive to the situation. And I think that's why it's like been helped to me to even know just that the little bit that I do, and also coming at it from an artist perspective, because you know, I did do that. But it is a little different because like even my boy B Star, shout out B Star. You know, there is something too though. I feel like for the people that are still in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have my theories and whatever from when I was doing it, but like I also haven't made music up until this point as far as like releasing and even when it comes to the marketing, that's the other thing about it too. Like the marketing is like something that's just like with Tim we're learning, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's just crazy. You know, it's you know, in retrospect, you know, 2020, hindsight is 2020, of course. You know, you look at it now, you're like, if I would have known to run some Spotify ads or fucking YouTube ads or oh my God, this would have been so much better, you know. But it's all the learning curve. But I mean,
but again, that's always changing too.
Right, exactly.
Like, and that's the other thing too. Like just talking about an avenue that a lot of artists, producers, or people involved in a project aren't thinking about is the marketing of it. You know, how do you rethink your approach? How do you rethink? Look at what others are doing and either not copy it but follow the blueprint. You know.
Yes.
And also like things. We live in an age of short attention spans.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so it's like we're talking with Timothy. Like,
yeah.
Like short content is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
You know, short form content. And not doing a long ass video. I mean, you can, but don't like invest too much within that, because people aren't gonna. I can't tell you the last time I watched a music video,
dude. And
like, at all.
For me and B, but we were telling him too because, and this is the thing, right? Because these things happen like real time, so we're going as we move. But you know, I know B was telling him like, look, you know, let's get some things. Let's keep it moving. Let's get the content moving. You know, videos are cool, and of course, you want your centerpiece, your visual for the song. Obviously, I mean, if I was an artist too, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want a fucking music video. You know, I want to do this right here. It's gonna be tight because it gives them a different angle. But you know, once I think we started getting some success on TikTok with him, I think at that point it just became apparent.
He's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's like that's what they want.
But again, you got to prove it.
Right.
Sometimes you got to prove it to them, and until they see it for themselves, they're not gonna.
They're not. And
there's people who know. There's two people in the world. There's people who will come to you for what you do and you do it well. Other people are going to come to you because you're all that's available to them.
Right.
And they're going to treat you differently based off of what. So it's like, yeah, you're cool at this, but again, they put you in that box where you're the content guy, but you just get the content and edit it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to just post it. But we're going to try to figure out how to post it later on. I was like, well, I do this. Like, this is what I do. You know? So
for sure.
Again, it's like people are going to always approach you based off what their perception is of you.
Right.
And you just got to prove them wrong.
Right. That's my shit. I fucking love that. I love that.
I like proving people wrong. That's like my favorite thing to do.
Honestly, it's kind of an addiction too, right? I mean, you got to think about it. No, but it is cool to, you know, just kind of put all these pieces together. And I want to a little bit more production because it just fascinates me, man. It's just, you know, it's something that I may even like, you know, I don't know, you know, in the future just dabble up, you know. I'm not, you know, doing anything crazy, but I'm, you know, I just like to put all it together. It's like sounds and, you know, put these people. I dabbled in like actual like beat making and stuff, not, you know, crazy, but it just interests me because, and it's the thing that interests me, and I guess this would be like I guess how I'm gonna do the pods now. I think this is a good idea. It's like a piece of advice before you leave. You know, like I guess just not always, but at least for you. But because that relationship again between the artist and the producer, just what is something that could mend that bridge? You know, indefinitely, like when in a session. Not, and I'm saying obviously you say it's all vibes, it's all different with different people, and it's the right group. Yeah. But when in that situation, you know, what is that one approach that you would like to just, you know, say to some of these producers that are listening and watching to say, hey, this could be a good way to start you know, in a session or a good way to, you know, kind of look at things so that as you progress making this song, we keep this thing moving, you know what I mean?
Shut up and press play.
There you go. That's it.
A lot of times producers will come into the room and just talk.
Right.
Yeah, I did this and I did this and yo, and check this out, and the BPMs and it changes up. Just play the music, let it talk for itself. You
Fire.
know, like you've seen me play stuff. I don't talk. I just come
know.
in a room, you ask me, I'll play a plethora of different styles just to give someone an idea of what we're capable of. If there's something you rock with,
Right.
let's roll with it, you know.
Right.
But I'm not gonna come in and talk a bunch unless we're talking about the music or writing or doing something. But like right out the gate, I'm coming in, I'm gonna introduce myself.
Right.
I'm gonna sit and watch and listen until they ask me to step up and plug in the aux
And make it happen.
and then just press play. I mean, just
Dude.
let your music speak for itself.
And I will say that shit low key, it works because when you first walked in, when we first met, you were very nice. You were respectful to everybody. Said hi. So off the rip, I'm like, all right, he seems nice. This is cool. But then you sat down and you didn't say a fucking thing. And then I looked you up on Instagram and I'm like, oh, shit. This is crazy, bro. We got legendaries in here. I'm nervous. I got the camera in my hand. I'm like, oh, shit, what am I gonna do? And then as I progress, I'm like, this is fucking dope.
Yeah,
You guys
I
are
mean,
so cool.
the thing is, it's like I'm humble.
Yeah.
I know what I'm capable of. I know what I've done. And again, I don't like name dropping. I don't care to name drop. It's like I want to be able for people to come to me for me as a person and me as my skill set, not for who I know and who they can get to through me.
Exactly.
You know, and a lot of times that's what it is in the industry. It's like with women to men, like everyone wants to get close to me because of who I know and who I've been connected to.
Absolutely.
You know? So I don't care for it. I rather just you like me as a human being first.
Yeah.
And based off of that, we could vibe, you know?
Literally.
But let the music speak for itself at the end of the day.
I love that. And I thank you for saying that. Because even like today, it's like, you know, and I say this to Bob all the time, you know, shout out Bob Horn and all these guys. It's like, you know, from day one, you know, even like us as well, like always been respect. It's always been cool, like good vibes. And even just sitting down with me, I'm like starting my new venture and shit.
Yeah,
Get to be one of the, you know, the first to get on here. And I do appreciate it. And I said that at the party too with like Bob. And I said it on the other pod the other day. It was like, it just means a lot that, you know, Bob did some, you know, some vibes like that for us after NAMM. And it was like a thing where like, this year I'm like, we need to recreate that, man.
Yeah.
We need that, you know? We need to all come together. Even if we just come together at the party for a little bit. And there was always people that came by for a few minutes.
Just have a community.
Yes.
Have a community of people that are seriously there for each other, not just there to come up on something.
Right.
And that's hard to get, but at least you could set up an environment to have that, you know, just foster from there.
For sure, for sure. And I definitely, you know, always want to just give shout out to Lou because I think he's been able to really, you know.
He's connecting people. He's a connector.
He really is a connector.
He's a people connector.
He is a people connector. And I think that's what he's done with me at least and just, you know, put me in these positions and like, you know, talk to, you know, go help this, you know.
Yeah.
And I've made some really cool friends out of it. Not even just like connects. It's just like, nah, it's like
solid
cool.
people.
Yeah, they're solid ass people.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I got to call dude every, you know, it's like, I just see you when I see you, and it's like
I saw you yesterday.
Exactly, it's lit every time. Like there's no weird shit. There's a few of you weirdos, but I'm not gonna, you know, like you said, we ain't dropping no names. But bro, thank you so much for this, dude.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
really
man.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Anytime you need me, man.
Anytime. I was telling the guys before in the earlier pods, I'm like, I'm gonna get, you know, guests back in here eventually.
Yeah.
So as shit gets, you know, progresses and we get more lit on my end, I'm bringing people back.
Yeah, let me know, man. I'll be back anytime.
Thank you, bro.
All right, bro.
I appreciate it. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.